Hello, everyone. GM. So happy to be here today. Very, very excited to talk to you about the Vitruveo team. So my name is Nick Kalyani, and I'm the project lead. And at today's AMA, what I'm going to do is introduce you to the project team members and give them a chance to talk to you, for you to ask them questions, and for them to tell you a little bit about themselves. So before we get going, I want to talk a little bit about how we are going about creating this DAO. As many of you know, there's been lots of different experiments with how DAOs work. Some of them have worked, some of them have not worked as spectacularly as you'd like. My approach to this organization is to gradually ease into a DAO structure. So we have all the planning, we have all the design, etc. But we want to proceed a little cautiously for a couple of reasons. One, there's a lot of moving parts right now. In fact, there's too many moving parts. And what we want to do is make sure that we don't get into a situation where we sort of delegate everything to sort of a decentralized organization. And therefore, that actually puts the brakes on our progress. So I'd like for you to think of our approach as being sort of semi-centralized to begin with, and then gradually move into a sort of decentralized approach as time progresses. And I'm not talking, years here. We're talking weeks, months, something like that. So we want to make decisions for decentralized kind of approach of the organization where it makes sense, and initially where it requires people and accountability, etc., to keep it more closer to centralized. But the important thing is we want transparency, we want openness, and we want everyone to be accessible and answering questions, things like that. So, for example, in the previous Discord, there wasn't much structure, but one of the first things I did was put a funds tracker on there. Now we've actually moved funds a little bit yesterday and day before. So I'll make sure that the funds tracker is up here also, so there's transparency. We've got the Discord really well organized now. We've got token gated channels, etc. So we are starting to put our plan into action here, and things are starting to come together very quickly. So what I want to do now is show you the DAO structure of how we are planning it. And I'm going to share my screen here and get that for you. There we go. All right. So what we have is a slight change from what was initially proposed in the Strategic Council based upon discussions, etc. You're going to find this time and time again. Everything is not static. We continue to evolve it as we learn more, etc. So you can get this PDF at the URL that's up there. We'll leave that up there for another 10 seconds, and then we'll take it off. All right, so let's start with the structure of a DAO. So just like, a lot of companies, et cetera, have sort of like a board of directors, et cetera, what we have here is a DAO council. So the DAO council consists of the leads of each of the 5 councils you see there. So that's 5. And what we'll do is we'll add 4 community members to that also. So that consists of an odd number, 9 total members of the DAO council. So we'll go into more detail into that and how the election process works, etc. Once we've got that finalized. We don't have that right now. But the 5 main councils we have are Strategy Council, Ecosystem Council, Technology Council, Creator Council, and Marketing Council. Now, the names are fairly self-explanatory, but I want to take a quick, give you a 10,000-foot kind of perspective on the goal and the objective of each one. So the Strategy Council is where we take the vision, the mission, and kind of distill it down into more tangible kind of strategic objectives, or roadmap even. And There are three main teams. So the white circles you see are the teams associated with it. And each of those teams will have a lead and potentially more people on there. My guess is that for the most part, the team leads and the members of the teams will end up being community members as things grow. But for right now, we are focused on the leads of the councils because we just need to get going. Now, you'll notice that with each council, in addition to the teams, there's also a little call out called an advisory group. So, what we want is for every team to have both community members within our community and also domain experts at large to be present in that advisory group to give us advice and make sure we make good decisions. So the strategy council is about setting the stage for all the other councils. The ecosystem council focuses on the overall ecosystem we have to build that includes partners, the community, what we are calling champions. So these are members of the community who excel and who step forward and do evangelism, etc., and represent the DAO. Also, the ecosystem council is responsible for targeting which events we'll attend and actually attending those events and planning our activities there, etc. So the technology council is where all the engineering work happens. So that's where the protocol design happens. That's where some of the platform dApps that I talked about just a couple days ago, like the Vitru Studio, Vitru Hub, Poet, etc., those get built. We have a small labs team also. We want to continue to innovate and move forward, so the labs team will work on that. We have DevOps, which is responsible for the infrastructure and making sure the validators that the protocol runs are solid and also to guide the validators in the ecosystem. And of course, we have a security team. Security is paramount. We want to make sure that we have dedicated resources who are always making sure that the network is secure and all the apps are secure and there are no incidents. The Creator Council group, which is next, this is where we do all our interactions with the creator communities that are there. So we'll have programs to onboard them. We'll have creator-focused events, exhibitions, things like that. And also we'll have various different programs that incentivize creators to come on board and use our platform. So the respective council leads will talk more in detail about their councils. Last but not the least is one of the most important functions, and this is actually a new council we kind of set up. It was previously a team under strategy, but we decided it's better for the whole DAO if we have it as its own unit, and that's the marketing council. So the marketing council is responsible for content, branding, for sales, PR, etc. So that's sort of an overarching picture of what's going on. So today, what I want to do is introduce you to the team members. So what we've done so far is we've filled roles for the technology council lead, the creator council lead, the marketing council lead, and the strategy council lead. And also within the strategy council is an operations team. So we have an operations team lead, and the same individual is also going to work on the ecosystem grants program. So I think what we can do is just get started. What I'll do is I'll bring each team member up, allow them to tell you a little bit about themselves. I might ask them a little clarifying questions or so. We'll get through all of that, and then we'll bring everyone up here together, and we'll take questions from the community. So if that's good, let's get going. We'll start with Alex Trujillo. So Alex, good morning and welcome. How are you?
Hey Nick, good morning. Thank you. I'm really excited. Well, I'm Alex Trujillo, originally from Bolivia, and I'm really thrilled to be part of Vitruveo. We have lots of work to do at the ops and grants level. So that's for the next 90 days. Short intro about me. For the last 10 years, I've had the opportunity of leading and coordinating operations on some interesting projects. I've been the strategy lead for a multi-country cultural tokenization initiative where I collaborated with a large multilateral bank and a group of NGOs to implement an NFT project aimed at preserving native heritage and tokenizing cultural assets at risk of disappearing, which we successfully completed this year. I also worked on both ends of the grant making spectrum. First, as a grantee, securing substantial funding from major financial institutions, and later, as part of grant making institutions. I've had the opportunity of not only allocating funds, but also the responsibility of monitoring their utilization across various organizations from different countries. So it's really exciting to be here. What else can I say? Well, one of my recent highlights was closing a partnership with Meta to bring native art from 4 countries into the metaverse. That was really exciting. And on the academic side, well, I'm an alumnus of the University of Michigan Law School, Go Blue. And yeah, I think that's pretty much what I can say about myself.
Well, so Alex, I love the fact that you dived right into it and didn't even give me a chance to say hi to you and kind of introduce it. That's what I like about you in terms of operations. You're like, let's just cut right to the chase and go for it. So that's great. So Alex, you and I met when we were working on a project that took us into the Amazon rainforest. And I remember, going to Paraguay and Argentina and meeting with the indigenous artists and learning. And that's when I sort of became acclimated with you and learned about your style of working. And really, what I saw is that you're a go-getter. You worked with large multinational organizations and were getting them to give grants and things like that to further, the initiatives that you were working on. So I love that. I also remember we were walking across the border between Paraguay and Argentina. I was carrying my suitcase along and I tripped and fell. So I have the distinct honor of falling between 2 South American countries. That was kind of an interesting experience. So, so Alex, you're primarily based in Bolivia, is that right?
Yes, Nick, that's right.
Yeah. And as I understand it, you also had a recent addition to your family, is that right?
Oh yeah, we have a 5-month-old with us now.
How is that? How is that working out?
Oh, crazy. We're having a lot of fun. Thankfully, we're sleeping through the night now, which is great. But yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah. All right. So getting back to the operations sort of role here, I see there you put sort of your priorities for the next 90 days around governance, voting, etc. So at a high level, what do you think your approach is going to be to get this DAO going in terms of, setting governance rules and things like that?
Well, Nick, our main priority for operations is to build a robust foundation, to streamline processes and ensure coordination among the councils you just mentioned. So we'll focus on creating order and efficiency. You mentioned that before, to execute our upcoming initiatives. So yeah, we have some key priorities that we mentioned there, preparing and presenting the version 0.5 of the governance documents, which will provide the community a set of guidelines, best practices regarding the DAO's operations, right? Yeah, I can also mention that we will also start working on a voting protocol, right? We need to set a structure for proposals, voting processes, and implementation of adopted decisions. What else? Well, on the treasury level, we will work on the treasury rules for the DAO regarding funds allocation, their use, disclosure guidelines, everything that is necessary to actually get that going. So we will also be working on creating a legal entity for the DAO, which will provide formality and structure. So we will be moving towards our incorporation in this period with the support of our general counsel, right?
Yeah, that's great. And I'm very glad that you have a sort of an academic law background, because I'd like to make sure that as we proceed, especially with some of these governance rules, etc., you bring that to bear and make sure we make some good decisions. We also have in-house general counsel, and you're going to meet her also today. So that I expect fully that both of you will work together and make sure that all the I's are dotted and the T's crossed, especially when it comes to things like our tokens, etc. Want to make sure that we do everything in conformance with the law and follow the regulations. So counting on you to do that. So Great to have you on board, Alex. I trust you wholeheartedly with this important role, and I'm very excited to be working with you. All right, so let's move on. The next person on the team I want to bring on here is my good friend Fur Caggiano. Hello, Fur. How are you?
Hi, Nick. So glad to be here. Thanks for inviting me for Vitruveo. Super excited to be a part of this.
Super excited, and I love your colorful background. It's way more colorful than mine. It's got some amazing art. So for you and I had dinner in New York at NFT NYC, and that changed the trajectory of both our lives. So why don't we start there a little bit, and then tell people about yourself a little bit.
Sure. Well, first of all, I'd like to say that I've been an artist for over 20 years, but that's not actually my formal education. I graduated on marketing and advertising, and I've been in that industry since I was 15. So working on in-house agency with my mom, and I'm originally from Brazil, so that's why I have a thick accent. And life just pushed me to being an artist full time. And that happened in 2000 when I moved to New Jersey with my first husband. And I went to the Art Students League in New York. So fast forward a little bit, then back in the States, several years later, I have been, pursuing art full time. And I came across NFTs, which was a very, very strange situation. I was having a museum exhibition, and someone approached me and said, do you have those pieces as NFTs? And of course, it was the first time that I heard about it. And I was like, I don't even know what that means. Can you spell it? So it was an interesting situation, but that was over 2 years ago. And I shifted from my traditional art industry to NFTs like completely. I kind of like gave up on the traditional industry just because I fell in love with all the possibilities that we have on Web3. And in that process, I came across Nick. It was through another friend in common, and she introduced us. And then in New York, he knew that I was looking for work. And even though I am an artist, I'm very passionate about creating. I always enjoy the part of putting artists together and promoting other artists. So he proposed to me to be part of Art Packs. And that has been a fascinating journey. All the artwork that you see behind on the screen are all pieces from the Art Packs collections. And we had our fourth drop yesterday. So super excited to do that. And I hope to bring all those to Vitruveo as well.
Awesome. So for you made the move to Miami recently, and you've been sort of starting to feel around the city a little bit. We've talked about having sort of a permanent gallery there. You still feel good about that? Is Miami the place where we have a permanent gallery?
Oh, absolutely. And for those who don't know, I used to own a gallery. I lived in Charleston, South Carolina, and I was co-owner at a gallery and also manager of that gallery. So I really enjoy the idea of having IRL exhibitions. And the fact that we can actually have a gallery focused on NFTs is a dream come true. So super excited with that project. And I know all our artists are looking forward to this immensely as well. So Miami is the place.
Yeah. So, you've seen the presentation I did around sort of the creator economy and the kinds of things we want to build in there. So put on your artist hat for a moment, take off your entrepreneur hat and your sort of director hat, and tell me, like, do you see those things as being good for the natural progression of the NFT space? Like, do you agree with some of the problems I highlighted there, and also the solutions that we want to put into Vitruveo?
100% game changer. I'll say one of the things that I noticed as an artist is that people have no idea what they're doing. And because NFTs are still very new, we're still setting foundations. So it's, Wild West. People mint whatever they think they should mint. There's no structure. People are completely lost. And as an artist, we don't know what to do because no one is guiding us. So when I remember when you first presented me the idea of the metadata, I was like, oh my God, this is like so freaking amazing, because when you actually talk in the language of what is already set as standards, you give the possibility for everyone to be considered a real artist through NFTs. So the idea of having all the linked art conversing with what we're doing and proposing to the artists, listen, you don't know what you're doing, but we can tell you how to make your life better and easier and how to make you actually succeed. So as an artist going into a new space where people say, okay, we know what will work for you, so here it is, you have to use the standards. So the standards will talk to all the database that is used by museums and all traditional institutions, instead of you putting like, I think I should have a title and description and that's it. No, not enough, not enough. So we have researched all of those fields that are important to make sure that the art is recognized as real art. So super excited with the artist perspective on that and all of the other tools, actually. It's not only about being recognized as real art, but also as being able to, for instance, like a huge problem that we have is copyright. People don't know what they're doing and they go like, okay, I mint my art, but what does that mean for the, for the end user? Are you telling that they can print your artwork? Are you telling that they can use for commercial use? Like, what do you want this to be? So with one of the concepts that you presented, I think it's brilliant, is that the artist is able to choose, okay, what kind of copyright I want. So of course, if you're selling a piece that is a one-of-one NFT, that's what it is. It's a very simple copyright. The user can display for personal use, so they can have in their living room or any of that. But if you want to go on the next level, you can actually commercialize your NFT for prints, for products, for commercial use. So you get to choose what kind of copyright you want for your NFT. And that for me is absolutely brilliant, because it's clear in the contract and people will have no doubt of what they're doing with the use of their NFTs.
Yeah, I'm so looking forward to implementing all of those things and really making a shift in how people approach NFTs. So now, for in the time that we work together on our art packs, one of the things that I have seen with my own eyes and experience is you are one of the strongest women I've ever met. You have so much grit and so much passion into you. You pour yourself like 10,000% into what you do. I thought I was committed, but boy, I mean, you're me multiplied, and also you're doing this as a single mom, move to a new city with your child, making sure they're comfortable and all of that kind of stuff. I just want to publicly just thank you for stepping into this role, because it's a huge role. It's going to evolve into music, it's going to evolve into movies, etc., and I have no doubt you're going to excel there. So I just want to publicly express my gratitude, really, for taking on, because I cannot think of a better person. Having watched you sort of go through all these drops every week and get 60 artists, 65 artists each week from different countries who don't even, some of them, speak the language, etc., to get organized, produce these works of art, and I might add, spectacular works of art, not just any works of art. You can see them in the background there, and then coordinating them into a drop. Hats off. I mean, really, you're and as this community works with you, they're gonna see what you bring to it. I have been greatly impressed with, and so when I was thinking about who's creator council lead, I literally didn't think of any single person other than you. I'm like, that's it, she's the one that is the right one for this role. And especially, since you've had your own exhibition, like, and not just a tiny exhibition, right? There was a multi-story building with your art in it. That's pretty incredible. So you have experience with museums, etc. So I think it's going to be great, and I'm really, really excited to have you for uh, in the past few months, I've grown to know you both as a professional and as a friend, I'm looking forward to scaling new heights with here. We are really going to do some amazing things for the world creator community, and I'm glad you're taking the lead on that. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Nick. And just to add to that, because you mentioned I'm a single mom, I have to say I have the best kid because he actually knows my paintings by title. So he
Oh,
sees something and he goes like, "Mom, this is this and that," and I'm like, "Oh my god!" So so I think that shows how much I'm immersed in the art industry because my son, who is around me all the time, he's just as involved as I am. So
that's
I'm really
fantastic.
excited.
That's fantastic. Thank you for.
Thank
All
you.
right, let's bring on our next team member, and that is, if I can get my cursor in the right place, Taraka Prabhu. Prabhu, hello. How are you? Are you muted? Yes, you are muted. Uh,
I am muted. Okay, thank you.
cool. And where
I'm
are
good, Nick.
you?
How are you?
I'm good.
I'm based in Dubai, and it's really hot here.
Well, let's see, how hot is it?
Yeah, somewhere around like 40s, but it's not hot like compared to like last 2 months. It used to be like 48, 49, and yeah, we just take shelter inside house or even malls. That's it, no outdoor, and just expecting to be going out frequently in the month of like November, December, where it is like much cooler, like 20, 21 something.
All right. So Prabhu, you are responsible for building and delivering on the protocol and the platform and everything related to engineering.
Yeah.
So every time someone asks when mainnet, I have to come back and ask you, and you will essentially uh, give me a lot of detail and tell exactly what's going to happen to get there. So what I'd like to do is, before we get into some of the product stuff, let's talk a little bit about your engineering background and tell us more about yourself.
Yeah, but first of all, it's a pleasure to be here in this AMA session. So some of you know already, some of you don't. So I come up with over 12 years of experience in the world of tech. I wore multiple hats, like being a code dev, architect. I've been involved in multiple research projects in the past. And my blockchain journey started like 6 years back, 2017, 2018-ish, when I got to know that my friend made like $150 trading Bitcoin in a week. And that's how I got to know what is BTC. First of all, I didn't even know anything back then. In 2017, it is late 2016, early 2017, but it was a roller coaster ride. First of all, I have to say that mainly like I've been involved in building dApps, smart contracts, and really good amount of experience in bringing like rigorous audits to the smart contracts and to the various code. And I've started more like an enterprise blockchain, like Hyperledger Fabric, Sawtooth, R3 Coda. So these are all more enterprise private blockchains, and slowly pushed myself, upgraded into like public chains like Ethereum in the protocol side, and collaborated with multiple Web3 organizations. And I'm also actively researching on zero knowledge proofs and L2 scaling solutions. So me and Nick, we have been working together for like more than a year, like year and a half now, and we had a series of exciting and innovative projects. First of all, I have to say, and we've been constantly delivering like crazy. I have to, like, Nick comes up with requirement, and I have to make sure it is up and running in 1 week or even less than that. So yeah, I hope this time I get good time for testing. I would say. And yeah, we are crafting our dream blockchain here, and we are eager to bring it to reality.
All right, that's wonderful. Yeah, I have really enjoyed working with you because one of the things that I relish is when I can sort of go head to head with an engineer, and we can, flesh out ideas, and each of us builds upon the other and comes up ultimately with a solution where we've poked holes and come up with something that's pretty robust. And what I really love about working with you is I don't need to give you copious detail. You think like an entrepreneur. You are an entrepreneur, And so when I say, oh, yeah, here's a product idea we want to do, here's what I'm thinking about it, you start bringing it down from my 50,000 foot level to like the 1,000 foot level. And I'm like, how are we going to do
Yeah.
this? What will the architecture be, etc. And I just love that a lot. So let's just get to the heart of the matter. People here are interested in knowing what's going to happen in terms of the engineering. So lay it out for us, Prabhu.
Okay, sure. So, my first responsibility, my full focus right now is getting the mainnet as fast as possible without compromising on security, but making sure that we have every change detailed and every node up and every block that is getting validated and produced, every transaction that is through. So that is my main step here. And we are like not just on the protocol level but also the other applications which are required to bring the protocol level. So we will obviously start with this new testnet which we are actually as we speak it's being getting ready. And it has like a performance driven rebasing feature and also the new branding stuff which we are building for the Explorer, the Block Explorer, and some of the other applications which are coming with it. And of course, now a refreshed RPC, which basically takes care of like the load and all those things. The refresh rate, the load, and the poll rate are much higher compared to the previous one. So yeah, it is cooking good. Like I'm just like trying to do multiple tests and see where we are. So the next thing is to stabilize the platform, continue testing, slowly start adding validators in the testnet. Obviously, anyone, whoever is like interested to be part of the testnet validator as a volunteer basis, obviously. And with that, like gradually bringing up applications like dApps like Dex, Bridge, and obviously you mentioned about the Poet, the Studio Hub. There's a lot of things happening. I just like spit it out everything from my hard, but yeah, there's a lot of things happening, and it's going to be a crazy journey.
Yeah. One of the things I always have to tell people is like, look, you asked me for a date, I'll give you a date estimate, but I have to go back to the engineers. Ultimately, it's the engineers who drive dates, because I know one thing about you is you will not allow an unsecure or a poor quality product out the door, no matter what commitment I have made. So I have to come back then and tell people, sorry, the engineering team needs to do more testing, etc. And I respect that. I'm fine with that. I think community members also need to recognize that if we ship a product that has not been properly tested for security, etc., it can come back and bite us in a big way. So it's better to be prudent and go through the steps needed to test it thoroughly. So Prabhu, you talked a little bit about AI, etc. Is that sort of your hobby, or what do you do with AI?
Oh, okay. So before even blockchain, I wanted to be an AI engineer, first of
Mhm.
all. I was working with a pharma company, AstraZeneca. So there used to be an innovation lab where that is like early 2012, late 2013, something. It was very, very early, and we don't even have any material, no Stack Overflow, nothing. So I was doing that, and we were able to like do some stuff like in the computer vision and all those things to recognize patterns and stuff. And neural networks were very new that time. So I wanted to be an AI engineer, but then slowly, I don't know how I landed. Maybe if my friend didn't show me the BTC price, I would have not even known what is blockchain. But good that he did, and now here I am. But I have my brother, younger brother, who is a data scientist and an AI engineer. So he works with corporate banks like Bank of America, State Street Bank, like big banks processing the data. So he works on that side, and he used to tell me about the AI stuff. And I used to mock him, but yeah, that's how my journey started with AI. But I still do some research about AI, especially on the LLMs after the huge open AI thing. So still into that, yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you, Prabhu. I'm just so excited that we are finally getting to the point where we start sort of productionalizing this technology and bringing it to light as a brand new protocol, Vitruveo, with a brand new focus, with a brand new market approach. and I fully trust you to deliver on everything that we've promised. And one of the things is, I try and make sure that I don't promise anything without first clearing it with you. So I just don't want to make empty promises. I want
Please.
to make sure that
I,
you had a
I
chance.
just
Yeah.
sorry. I just wanted to tell, like, every single time Nick goes and promise something, I'll get on a call with him and just say that, Nick, you should have asked me, like, where is that thing? So it has happened multiple times. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's good thing that we try to, but most of the time, I'm happy that most of the time we were able to squeeze in. And I have to first of all thank my devs, my team, who really worked hard. Like sometimes they have to sit the entire Saturday and Sunday, and then like they have to finish it. And yeah, first of all, more than me, they have worked hard really to bring most of these stuff. So yeah, I'm happy about it. And yeah, thank you for recognizing the time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, ideally, what we do is we go through a progression where we ideate and then go through that. But the luxury of time is not something we have, and so sometimes we have to kind of accelerate things here. But I
Yeah.
think overall, we are doing well on those fronts, and I'm excited about it. All right, Prabhu, I'll bring you back on here later. Let's go on to our next team member, and that is Riva. Hello, Riva.
Hi,
Hi.
GM.
How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for asking, Nick. I hope you're doing well as well.
I am doing very well. And so Riva is our marketing council lead. She is a consummate marketer. And where are you, Riva, right now?
Yeah, I'm set right next to Prabhu. No, well, not really. We're both in different Emirates, but we're both in the United Arab Emirates. I'm in Abu Dhabi, he's in Dubai.
That's cool. So you're staying indoors and staying cool, I hope. Uh, and your dog?
Noah, yeah, he's great. I just told him, hey, you got to be quiet for a little bit and then take you out for walkies. So he's fine with that.
All right, cool. So Riva, let's talk about you a little bit. Tell us about your background and tell us about the highlights of your life.
Sure. First of all, it's great to be here, and it's great to have met like some amazing people through projects I've worked with you, Nick, and some of the people who are watching the live right now. Thank you so much. I'm able to read all your comments, and you guys are amazing. Myself, I'm Reba. I was born in Singapore. I grew up there. And unlike Fur, I did not graduate in advertising and marketing. I took a weird combination of political science, psychology, and nanotechnology in the university. But then while I was still an undergraduate, I was already working for the Singapore National Television. I was producing a documentary series and live TV shows. I was 17. I was doing floor managing and stuff like that. And one of the shows actually went to win the best series. I then, started focusing on broadcasting and communications, took up a radio job as a gig, but went on to completely master the radio automation system. So then I traveled around Asian cities to set up radio stations across multiple countries. Well, that involved training and leading the teams and also hosting drive time shows across 3 countries. And that's what brought me to Dubai. 7 years ago, I realized what I have always loved with whatever I was doing was simplifying complex ideas and making them into stories that I can understand and people who read my stuff, who hear my stuff can understand, right? That's when I went into advertising. Started off as a junior copywriter and worked myself way up to be an associate creative director. And then I started working for multiple Web3 organizations for a couple of years. That's when I met Nick. I've worked with him. I've also worked with the companies that own Burj Khalifa, the tallest building in the world, and Burj Al Arab, the world's first 7-star hotel, you guys know. And I also tend to work with a lot of automobile brands, Skoda, MG. I worked on the pitch for Porsche Middle East, and I still do work for Maserati Middle East. I work on their copy and digital content development. Yeah.
Wow. I feel, as I said, the consummate marketer, and what I like about you is you're very clear about the lines about strategy in marketing versus tactics, and you focus more on the strategy and making sure we've thought through all aspects of it. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the Vitruveo brand and what your vision is about how we are going to go about implementing our vision.
Yeah, well, see, the thing is, Nick, we live in an information-rich society, right? There's so much of stuff that we get all the time, like even now, like words, 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 read here, listen. But decisions, actually, as human beings, at the end of the day, if you take off marketing words, like remove consumers and buyers and investors, all of us are human beings, and decisions are often not made with information. It is made using feelings. So I feel like my job, again, I feel that my job is to really distill the information and really give you the positive vibes about a project. And that's what branding is. Okay, if we all make decisions with only information, we would all be like the ideal weight, living the best lifestyle, shopping at the perimeters of the supermarket. But no, sometimes we wake up and choose violence, or we pick the right tune and we change our mood. So that is where branding comes in. A good brand is a person's gut feeling about a product or a service, because it depends on others for its existence. So for me, my first job is I'm really glad that the community is loving the Vitruveo brand. Got a thank intention for that. We worked with them and did market research to make sure that the colors and the fonts and how the brand look and feel is brings trust, brings comfort, brings good vibes and friendship. So yeah, that's what I think is most important when it comes to branding.
And I think you're hitting that mark really, 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 really well. One of the things I like to do is work with people from whom I can learn a lot, and I always learn from you, and I appreciate that. We first met actually on a Twitter space when you were talking about your NFT project, Brava. I'd love for you to share more about that in a little more detail, because I think it's important for people to understand that you cannot be successful in a project like this unless you also have a committed, to social causes, and to bring that technology to bear with those social causes. So let's talk about Brava for a bit.
It comes back to human stories
Yeah.
and being personally invested in a cause such as helping women women and girls have undergone domestic and sexual violence. So I got to like rewind a little bit and tell you how I came into the NFT and Web3 space. I was just looking for a painting like to be above my bed. And I did not want something that everybody has. Like I did not want to go and shop in IKEA. I did not want to go to Home Center. I wanted to get something unique. But then if I go to galleries, stuff was super expensive. So just started Googling, well, like, where can I get unique artwork that I can own, right? And that is when I bumped into like Tezos. They had a marketplace back then called Hic et Nunc. I think this was in 2020. And that is when I started shopping for NFTs. And then I got like some of my advertising agency friends and say that, hey, have you seen this? And then one of my very good friends who's a designer from Mexico, he said, yeah, let's do something with it. There is a cause that I want to support in Mexico. It's called Fondo Semillas, and they do great work, phenomenal work, helping women and children. And I'm like, yeah, I want to be part of that too, because I've gone and done some real work, on ground work in Kolkata, in India, in some of the red light areas there. And that's how the Brava brand was born. And with the help of the community, some of the people who are actually watching the live right now, and some of the people who are part of Vitruveo's core team are members who actually hold Brava. So thank you so much for that. We managed to fulfill the charity commitment. For me, I think collaboration, like collaborative effort, is so important. I keep going back to how we are all humans and it's all about feelings. One of the things that we managed to do with Brava, apart from fulfilling our charity commitment, was also onboard a lot of new users to Web3. And the only reason why they did that was they realized that they can actually support such a cause, which is close to them from all around the world. We sent out a form, a Google Forms, and asked people to fill up. And we said, members of the Brava community have to be people, not just who want to flip the project. We want them to be, and this was like late 2021, right? And we want people to be, people all like flipping and stuff. We want people to really resonate with the entire cause. And so you got to fill up this like 20 questionnaire. And Nick, I love questionnaires. I sent one to you too. So, and the people, the first, the community, bunch of people who joined were people actually who filled up all those 20 questions. husbands, sons, moms, brothers who said, hey, this incident happened with my wife, it happened to my sister, I don't want it to happen anymore, we want to be part of Brava. And I love that story. I think it's so heartwarming. I want to create more stories like that.
That's amazing and really, really inspiring and uplifting. And I love that you did that. So let's bring it back to Vitruvio here. What's your approach going to be? We have a tall order of bringing in all the world's creators on here, whether it's visual artists or musicians or filmmakers or writers, etc. What's your approach going to be?
I'm going to cheat here a little bit and refer to one of my favorite books. It's called Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller. And one of the things I learned from the book is, or let me put it this way: one of the biggest mistakes a lot of brands do is they think that they are the hero of their story. So I love talking about stories, right? And I don't think brands should ever be heroes of your story. If you're watching Star Wars, you cannot be the Luke Skywalker of your story. You need to be the Yoda. So people always look up to a brand who can guide them, who can help them see what the problem is, who can show them the way, who can really be a Yoda. I mean, every individuals are heroes of their own story. Everybody's got their main character vibes. We're not going to mess with that. And I think one of the biggest strategy with Vitruveo is whenever we post content, it's going to be content that actually is in functional content that actually makes a small difference in everybody's life, no matter what kind of stuff that we post. So yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it is marketing and advertising. It all comes under sales. So there's conversion and lead generation and the numbers, the follower growth, the token sales, all of that is really important. But on top of that, I believe what can actually take us to where we want to be is human focused communication. And if I may, Nick, because marketing advertising is super visual, I want to paint a little bit of another picture. And this is actually a campaign by IBM. It was done like years ago. They did the campaign communication called Smart Ideas for Smart Cities, right? So what they could have done is IBM, spent a lot of money, made like huge ass billboards, put some paid advertising, expensive stuff. They could have done all that. But what they actually did was they made billboards, but they bent the bottom of the billboard slightly so that those billboards actually were not just billboards. They became benches at waiting areas. Or they bent the billboards at the top, so it became shelters. To me, that is clever. Wow. That's not just saying we are making cities smarter, but doing it. And that's what I am passionate about. Yeah.
I love that. That's really awesome. And I love that you use the word human because I'm fixated on that. I want this protocol to be as human as possible and to get away from what this industry has brought so far. It's a very jargon oriented, very technical, and I hate to say it, but a very bro culture. And we can change that. We can change that completely.
100%. And before we wrap it up, because we've got one of the most important people in the teams right after me, but not so long ago, Dubai was the host city for Expo 2020, right? It's a big thing. It was like during COVID, so it became Expo 2021. But I was tasked with creating a campaign to bring, like millions of visitors who came into the city to visit one of the largest chain of stores in Dubai. Now, one way of actually bringing people into a supermarket or a store is advertising, right? You do YouTube 6-second ads, or you send out emails, you do TV ads, whatever it is. That can work for me. That is important. But if we can move beyond intrusive advertising to start thinking, how can we really make a difference? So that's how I thought with my team, and we launched a campaign called Arablish. So you know what we did, Nick? What we did was we changed the price tags in the supermarkets. So they all became language teaching devices. So you can get an apple, and then it said an apple is 3 dirhams, but it also show you how the apple is written in Arabic and how to pronounce it. So all we did was we did not tell people come and shop here. We said come and learn Arabic. And obviously, when they went into the stores, they started shopping and they brought home a new language. And I think those kind of stuff would really work with Vitruveo, with what we are building here, because we've got a great brand.
Yeah, Riva, I'm afraid to report to you that you have a new name in the community. It's Yodiva. it's a combination of Yoda and Diva. So you're gonna be Yoda. I love that Slumdog Millionaire. Thanks for putting that
No
there.
diva,
That's really
I
great.
am.
Yeah, wonderful chatting with you. I'm sure we're going to have lots more conversations about marketing here. Welcome, and I trust you wholeheartedly to kick ass on this brand and take us to new heights. So great chatting with you, Riva. All right, the next person I'm going to bring on board here is Jamelia Greer. Hello, Jamelia. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on, Nick.
Absolutely. So, Jamelia is our general counsel, and I might add, one of the friendliest and nicest lawyers I've had the pleasure of speaking to. Where are you based, Jamelia?
I'm based in Dubai.
All right, that's we have a trifecta there now. We got three folks there. So you and I met when Riva introduced us. And I was very impressed with when we worked on a couple of projects with how you handled it. And so I, since I had entertained this notion of incorporating the DAO in Dubai, you're the first person that came to mind. I'm like, yeah, let's talk. And I love the fact that you proposed essentially coming on board as a fractional general counsel. So you want to explain that a little bit in a little bit, but first let's start with your background. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Well, born and raised in small town Connecticut, so grew up with lots of farms and cows and a world totally different than Dubai. And, practiced law in Connecticut and sort of happenstance across China to spark my international journey. I started teaching English in China many, many moons ago and ended up developing a career in the APAC region, the Asia Pacific region, working with a company that was then known as United Technologies. And really what I was doing, what started my whole career in technology, was trade controls and trade compliance. And that is keeping sensitive technologies, maybe military controlled technologies, out of the hands that certain governments didn't want them in. And I got into this world of understanding that there's this huge intersection between the law and technology, and the way that not just companies want to control their technology, but countries do as well. And that blossomed. I spent about 10 years in China and Singapore and traveling all throughout Asia Pacific. Worked with Marriott International, head up their legal compliance team for a number of years, and then headed up data and privacy for Standard Chartered Bank for a couple of years. And I said, this is great, but I need to get closer to this stuff. And I want to work with startups, and I want to work with companies that are really on the cutting edge of this type of work. And so I started ByteBao. And the name ByteBao, actually, obviously, what the first part of the name is, but the second part, Bao, is a Chinese character, which means to protect. And so ByteBao was really created for the Asia Pacific market, but because of COVID and my adventurous spirit, we came out to Dubai, set up shop here, and it's been amazing. It's been amazing. Dubai has really been a place that's at the forefront of Web3 and blockchain, particularly in the regulatory compliance space, and it's just been a great place to do this.
Fantastic. That's such a diverse, and as I understand it, you also speak. It says you speak fluent Chinese and Mandarin. That's amazing. I want to learn Chinese, so I may hit you up for the there. All right, so let's talk about your role in Vitruveo. What are some of the areas that you're going to help us with, and how do you see things working out as this quote unquote fractional general counsel?
Sure. So fractional general counsel, it just simply means a general counsel that is there at the disposal of the company, but is not, your typical full-time employee in the sense of that word. And, anything that falls into the basket of legal and compliance, that's really what I'll handle. And, for us, I think particularly one of the things that's at the forefront is legal entity structuring, making sure that we are able to maximize benefits of different jurisdictions in terms of how we set up Vitruveo across different areas, and then the DAO as well. And so what we really want to do is we want to make sure that we are protecting our members, we're protecting IP, we're making sure that we're doing the right thing wherever we're operating. And we're not just waiting for laws to be created to follow laws. And I think that's a mistake that a lot of Web3 companies are making these days, is they say, well, let's wait and see what this jurisdiction comes out with, or let's wait and see what the law is here. And the funny thing is that these laws are not new. The spirit of every single law that has to do with virtual assets is just a revamp of what we've been doing with other technologies. So we don't really need to wait. We know what the law is going to say. We know what's right. We know what's ethical, and we go by that. And that really is what my role is, whether it's dealing with vendors, suppliers, people who are part of our community, and the company itself.
Yeah. So you and I are meeting on a regular basis, and we'll rope Alex in there also. The three of us are going to take point on sort of getting the legal things moving forward. What are your key priorities?
Key priorities, number one is legal entity structuring. I think that's top of mind right now. I also think the contracts and agreements is something that we need to get in place. I mean, contracts and agreements are essential in terms of just making sure that, our obligations are clear, and that any party that we work with understands what those obligations are. And I also think, intellectual property is one that we should focus on. And then finally, the boosters. As we roll out the boosters, for sure, we want to make sure those are done right. And we want to make sure that there's clear communications about what those boosters are.
Yeah. When we first talked about the boosters, etc., one of the things I told you is I want to make sure that 100% of the time we comply with what?
With number one, making sure we're doing what we're supposed to be doing, but making sure we're not having a security.
Yeah, we are going to do everything by the book, and we will not skirt any laws. We will not skirt any regulations. It might be painful, but we are going to do what is absolutely right, because that's the culture of the organization. We are going to be legally compliant with everything, and that's really, really important to set the stage. And as a leader, you set that stage and make sure everyone does everything very, very accurately and by the book. So I really appreciate that you're on the team, and I can DM you and get a quick response. And I also love that you've indicated how this is an exciting domain for you, the creator domain, and to get into it. So what about it is interesting for you?
Well, I'm a creator myself.
Well, let's hear more about that. Yeah.
In terms of the podcast, the Barely Legal and Web3 podcast, it really is important for people to have outlets to express themselves. Yeah. And even lawyers have a creative side. I know it sounds crazy, but it's true. And, creators need to be able to have livelihoods. They need to be compensated fairly, and they need to be able to be protected. And so those are really important ideologies.
That's amazing. Well, Jamelia, I'm just so excited that you're here guiding us on this journey. Just the few meetings we've had about Vitruveo, you've given me so much to think about in terms of the structure, in terms of how we incorporate, how we, there is the intellectual property the DAO will have, but then also we are dealing with intellectual property of creators, and we want to create the right frameworks and the right rules and platforms, etc. So I love it, and I'm very grateful that you're on the team.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah. All right. So let's now bring everyone back on the stage here, and we can turn off the slides so everyone can say hi. Well, oh, great. Who's missing? We're missing a couple people. There we go. All here. So I just want to, having gone through all this, one thing I want to point out that's really, really important is notice how we have a globally diverse team. This is important. If you're going to create a global solution, you better bring all those perspectives to the table. And as I mentioned, also, one of my, as a dad of two daughters, I make no secret of it that I want to create a tech world that is very gender balanced and make sure that smart people have equal opportunities. And you see that reflected here. It's always merit based, but being merit based and also at the same time trying to create a gender balanced organization, we can have it. We can have our cake and eat it too. And you can see here is good evidence that there are some really smart people on here. So great to have you all. Welcome to this community. I'm going to turn it over to our good host here to ask some questions, and then maybe we can take some questions from the community. Now, before we do that, I'll just tell you one thing, okay? It would be wonderful to have all of you on AMAs all the time, but I'm going to put the kibosh on that right away. You have work to do first. So when we get to mainnet, we can do AMAs all day, every day. Until then, maybe a select few of you will be on AMAs with the community, but I'd rather you just be focused on your work and getting us to mainnet. So blame me for that, folks, for not making them accessible on AMAs. But that time will come. So Chris and our founder.
Well, there's quite a group of pretty awesome people there, Nick. It's a great opportunity to meet some of them. I do have to say that, Jamelia, I am a huge fan of your podcasts. So that is pretty fun. So I think you do a great job with that. And we do have a couple of questions. I'm going to jump to one right now because it came up just now. They're asking, Jamelia, do you anticipate any difficulties with the SEC concerning proposed booster sales? And I'm not sure if you can even talk too much about that.
I was waiting for the legal questions to come out, and I knew that it'd be the first one to come out. I want to speak generally rather than specifically about the project, and just talk a little bit about what's happening in the U.S. now in terms of the SEC and the enforcements that are going on. I think everyone that's in the Web3 space right now is really looking to where is the best place to set up and where is the best place to have either a token launch or a NFT mint or any sort of virtual asset, digital asset operation. And it's not just this project, it's anyone. And so, without getting into too much detail, there are ways in which you can minimize risk in terms of virtual asset or digital asset activity. That's the first thing. The second thing is that the SEC has jurisdiction over certain activities of companies that are operating within the US. And so I just kind of want to put that out there and not say too much as we're just starting off. But I think these questions are great questions, and we can continue to have this conversation.
Awesome. And you have some questions that you want to bring up?
Yeah, and first of all, thank you guys for your time. Thank you for being here. It's nice to meet the team. Nick, you only have 2 daughters. I have 5, my man. So I feel you, brother. So I did want to ask each of you, and please answer, one at a time or individually. When Nick first proposed this whole thing to you guys, Vitruveo, what is it about Vitruveo that sparked your interest, that made you say, yes, I want to be a part of this?
I could take it.
Sure. Whoever wants to start, please go.
Sure, I'll go first because that was a softball compared to the last question. I think it's not just the vision, but it's Nick's steady hand. I think what you see a lot in the space these days are people who have a short-term vision and are looking to kind of get in and get out. And in the limited time that I've spoken to Nick and had these conversations, I can tell straight away that this is a real business. This is a real company. This is not a quick short-term setup that's going to go away. And building for growth and using things like compliance as a competitive advantage and really mapping out how data is used. I had a look at the data and the tech framework that Nick had drafted out and the team had drafted out. And I said, this is no different than the stuff that I saw at SCB, Standard Chartered Bank. Like, that's the level that he's operating on. And so it's a steady hand, it's a mature mindset as to what business is. And I think it's the leadership that really roped me in along with the vision, but the leadership for sure.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Anyone else want to jump in and add to that? Fur?
Yes, well, first of all, I second Jamelia on that. And I've been working with Nick already on RPEX, and it is just brilliant to work with him. I've enjoyed all the past few months that we work closely. And other than that, for me, it's just the opportunity of building something well structured from the ground up is amazing. Because being in the NFT industry for 2 years now, I miss that. I look around and it doesn't have the structure that we need to support creators. So when Nick presented that concept, I was like, wow, now we can actually make it right, like start with everything that we should have in all other places and we don't. So I'm just excited to really be able to offer this to the community as a all-level solution. And this is what really sparked my interest.
That makes sense. Instead of trying to tweak something that's already out there and not quite right, you get to build it to perfection right from the ground up. That makes sense. That makes sense.
Anybody else want to have a
Alex?
Alex? Yeah.
Alex?
Yeah, sure. Well, for me, I completely agree with Fer and Jamelia. But it's about giving creators the recognition they deserve and to building a solid foundation for them to achieve financial security. I mean, he has a vision. He proved us over and over again that he has a vision, he has a structure, and he has something great in mind for creators. So that motivates me completely to be on board of this project.
Great. Thanks for that, Alex. How about you, Riva? Do you have anything to add?
For me, I think definitely it will be the boisterous community. I mean, I've seen you guys on Discord and this YouTube shows and the comments and the energy, and I feed off that. I think a lot of people do as well. It's important for any blockchain, any protocol, any organization to have people to make noise. And the day that we actually, launched the brand, there was like so much, right? And like something working, everyone is like just wants to be part of it. We can do good stuff together. That's what, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, this is a very special community. Let's put it that way. So thank you guys. I appreciate your answers.
Got a lot of people in the community that have been pretty destroyed and hurt over the last year or so, and trying to bring something back that that they can see some type of gains from are very important. Fowler, I noticed that I didn't even mention anything about you. I didn't even ask you if you have any questions or anything. I got a couple starred. I can get to those, but I wanted to ask you and Kryptonian if you wanted to say anything or bring anything up.
Well, I don't really have any questions. I mean, I can only say that I'm very impressed with the resumes that I've seen today. I think that as far as like, as the future is concerned, I feel like we're in safe hands. I mean, these are all qualified people, to take on this task, this really huge task. And also, I just want to say that, like I said in the past to the guys before, that, Nick is going to perform. Nick is going to show everybody that, he's going to blow you away when we're in our situation as far as the community is concerned. And, I said, just, I trust my gut on this one. Like, I trust my gut because we're vulnerable. This community was very vulnerable not too long ago. And I said, look, Nick's going to make this work, and he's going to show you. And like you guys are seeing out there right now, that he's showing you, because if you look at this panel, this is a more than qualified panel that can handle this task. So that's pretty much all I really wanted to say.
What about you, Kryptonian? You got anything? I still got some starred questions, but
I'll keep it quick. Thanks to everybody for joining and joining the live and allowing us to be here. But most importantly, thank you for showing your faces. Far too long that we've had to deal with with devs and people in other projects where they don't show their faces. They just say a lot of words, and you guys are actually putting your resumes up there. You're putting your faces to the challenge as well. So you're up there, you're going to be ridiculed. You're going to be challenged and questioned, as you guys know, such as the space, the DeFi space. So first, I definitely commend you on that courage. And I'm going to circle right back to what I heard someone say about Nick, that he is very methodic and slow paced in how he brings things together. I've noticed that in my experience and actually having the pleasure of being on a few lives with him the last few weeks. So he doesn't say much, but when he does come out, he says enough, I think. So with that being said, I appreciate you guys being here. I am too impressed with what I'm seeing. I cannot wait to see what the road looks for, how it's going to look how it's going to look in the future. I guess I know there's a lot of things that's going to you're going to have a lot of questions about the code, the devs, and you're going to see. You're just going to be bombarded with so many things. But just understand one thing, that we as a community, we have been through some things. So we will have questions. We will hold your feet to the fire, and we appreciate you guys being here and willing to actually accept that. So with that being said, I'll give it back to you, Chris.
All right. I have two questions, and one of them actually comes up, so I will just let that go until it comes up. But did I read that we're looking for a launch on the 10th? Was that an announcement that was in the Discord, that we're looking at September 10th? I thought it was going to be the week of the 10th, but have we decided that it's going to be the 10th that we do our first launch?
Yeah, so we are, as Prabhu said earlier, we are working on testnet, so that's going to be our first thing. And our mainnet RC1 is going to be contingent. Like, remember, boosters launch with that, so that's contingent on green light from legal, and we are working through that. So I think what we're going to do is almost as soon as we launch testnet, almost on a daily basis, give an update on exactly where things are. Because it's really hard to commit to an exact fixed date when we have so many of these things there. But rest assured, the goal is within the next couple of weeks to be there, and sooner rather than later. But I don't want to rush, as we were talking about earlier. I don't want to rush Jamelia and say that we need to do this tomorrow. We need to get a legal like, I want to make sure she has the time to research the things. And also, I enjoy my freedom immensely. I like to be free. I don't, so that's an important consideration.
Yeah.
So I would rather wait a few days
than
make a mistake and end up where I don't want to be.
Yeah. So here's the first question I got that was start up here, and it's for Prabhu. How many devs are on the team?
Okay, so it's an interesting question. I've been getting this multiple times in the Discord, so I'll keep it very short. But our dev team consists of 4 super high efficient engineers. Okay, so that includes like full stack and protocol, and as well as people who work with me with the front end as well as with the back end application. So some of them are like fully into the full stack. Some of them are mostly into the protocol, and me myself, like, I just take care of like almost everything. So it's like me plus 4, and it's not like fixed. Sometimes we increase the team size to maybe like 6, 7 when the demand is so high and we need to produce something which is really required. I have really good engineer friends, like, who can hop in, help me out, and then just do the job done, like, and then just leave. Those kind of friends who will come and help me. But to be frank, me and my 4 devs are the core team basically for the development.
Okay. Next question we have from Tad Hayes. It says, Nick, are all these council leads full-time employees for Vitruveo, or are they contracted employees?
Yeah, so keep in mind, we don't have a company yet. We're working on that. So right now, everyone is essentially a full-time contractor. And part of what Jamelia and I are trying to do is figure out the best way to structure our agreements for different people, given the different jurisdictions also, like, US based versus international, etc. So but right now, everyone is essentially a full-time contractor.
Okay. Next question was, please ask, what ideas do the team have in regards to helping musicians? And I want to say something while the panel's here. The Mammoth, I don't know if Kryptonian had the opportunity to see it, but it has some really great ideas. I'm not sure if he's had a chance to talk to you, Nick, but he's got some really good ideas, and he's asking a question about in regards to helping musicians. But
yeah. So I just started conversing with him on Twitter and have looked at the plan and plan on following up. So our approach is to do a phased approach. So we're going to start with visual arts first, get that kind of nailed down, and because we have the most familiarity with it, and it is the most mature, if you will, of all the different domains that are there. So we'll start with that and then graduate to that. I'm going to turn it over to Fur and see what she has to say about that.
I think you're muted.
Yeah. So I was getting to the button. Yes, from my experience on the NFT space, yes, the visual art is the one that is more mature, as Nick mentioned. But I am connected with people in all sorts of industries, of art industry in the NFT space already, and they are very small compared to the visual arts, but they're growing. So that is something that we want to be able to provide for everyone, is a slow paced transition on. We start with what we know, with what we already have, and structure it better, and then we can open for everyone else. But of course, anyone that is in one of those industries and wants to talk to me and have some, connections and ideas, I would be very, very happy to hear and understand the needs, especially because I know what visual artists needs, but I don't know so much exactly what a musician would need or a filmmaker. So that's where I really appreciate the conversation with the public. So always open to talking.
Okay. Here's the next question we have is, Jamelia, when incorporating Vitruveo in Dubai?
I don't know, Nick, what are our thoughts on that? I mean, look, I think at the end of the day, we are really balancing out where are the best jurisdictions, and Dubai is certainly at the top of the list. It is something that we're looking at really closely. And if your question is when in terms of timing, I don't want to give a firm answer on that, but very soon.
Okay. Alex, this is for you. Alex, how you plan on doing grants or pay for grants with such a massively low amount in the multi-sig?
Well, I think the first part is establishing strategic partnerships with renowned galleries, museums, some other organizations, and onboarding these traditional art institutions into our ecosystem. This will provide opportunities for our creators to have IRL exhibitions and other events without actually spending that much. I mean, we have to be efficient with our resources. We understand that, but this is the first part, securing these partnerships. Then we will launch our first grant program.
Okay, we have another question for you. Kind of convenient, right back to back. Alex, what help will Vitruveo be looking to give creative companies if they want to build on the blockchain?
I don't know if I'm the right person to answer this, but again, I will go to partnerships. We will be onboarding a lot of organizations that are not related to Web3 yet. So we will have some opportunities there. And it's all about making connections between these organizations and creative companies and creators in general.
Anybody else want to add to that, or is that good? We're good there?
Yeah, I mean, it's important for people to understand that things are coming into place. We have to plan, we have to structure, we have to create these programs, etc. That doesn't happen overnight. This team is just formed. You can't expect them to give you all these answers right away. Mm-hmm. There needs to be some brainstorming done, etc., some programming done. So as part of this structure we've created, there is a team called Programs whose sole purpose is to introduce different programs to engage with companies. So we will try out a couple of programs, we'll experiment, we'll finesse, and we'll grow from there. So Rome was not built in a day, and neither is Vitruveo. So it's going to take some time.
Exactly. This one's for Riva. Would Vitruveo be open for any joint marketing in the future with companies looking to build on the blockchain?
No, I'm kidding. Of course. I mean, we can't do this alone.
I was serious. I thought you were serious. I'm like, whoa. So
There
how
you
would
go.
I do
Pause
that?
for effect.
It's a
You got
clickbait.
me.
No,
Good
yeah.
job.
This is going to be a joint journey. So we need everybody. See, we at the end of the day, we are answering some critical challenges that we have seen in the Web3 and blockchain space. Like talented people in the ecosystem, they are not getting the income that they deserve. A lot of art enthusiasts who are not in Web3 yet are finding it difficult to join the ecosystem because that's a huge learning curve. The user experience is pretty bad, and talking about compliance around standards and creating a very user-friendly collaborative environment for creatives and artists, creators. And if your organization, your community is also solving any of these problems like us, and you have an idea to propose, like, we're all ears and we're all open, and we do this together. I think, yeah, isn't that right, Nick? That's how we work.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah.
Good answer. This next one's actually from me, I guess more so to Prabhu or Nick. If any of the community members wanted to volunteer to run their validators, as you mentioned, what would be the best way for them to contact the team in order to volunteer?
Okay, I'll take it. So first of all, we are setting up a different node channels, like for the full nodes, and in order to onboard, like, we will probably have a form which you might just like show your interest about, like, to be a validator, because being in a test net, like it's similar to mainnet, but you also will be burning money in order to have your node up and running. Basically, like for paying for AWS or Google Cloud, whatever it is, like.
Mhm.
So that's why I said it's a volunteer basis. So if you want to contribute to the network, we would be very much happy, because like that's how we all together as a team secure the network, by decentralizing it, right? So that's our priority. And if you are if you are interested, you're most welcome. I will keep the announcement channel open once we have that, once we are to that stage.
Perfect. Thank you.
Oh, I thought I was on mute. So you're talking to myself.
What's new?
I have great conversations with myself. Can we one day meet the other four devs?
I'll feel that. No, as I mentioned, there are people in the organization whose job it is to answer questions. Me being first, Riva being second, and then Fur also. We are going to be telling you and answering all your questions, but people need to get their work done. And if you ever met a dev, you know that they're not interested in being in front of a camera and audience.
Oh yeah,
Like,
I know.
that's number one. No dev wants to do that. So yes.
Yeah, we know one person.
We are not going to turn this into a circus. I can assure you of that. We're going to be professional. We are going to answer questions as needed in all the detail that's needed. But this is not going to be a circus. I can assure you of that.
Cool. There it is.
There it is. This is for Fur. Nick mentioned that attracting large traditional art museums to Web3 transition can be challenging. Do you have any clear roadmap on how we will approach such a task?
Okay, as Nick mentioned, the roadmaps is still being developed, but I do have some connections. For instance, I'm not sure if you guys are aware, but there's a project called Meta Run, which I am involved. I'm one of the collectors, and they onboarded the Run institution into Web3, where they decided to put all the Run artwork into the blockchain. So I think that was the first serious traditional museum that I saw being part of the Web3. And it is something that is still very new, but we do have some ideas, especially like I've been talking to Alex about this because he's more connected with those type of institutions as well. So we're looking into some solutions, and then we'll start approaching other museums and institutions in that level. I am planning already a meeting with the few that I'm connected with, but again, the roadmaps is still under development. But it is a task that I definitely want to see happening before any of the other big tests in the art part.
Yeah, and I just want to add there, when you are bringing something new to the market, you don't start immediately with by going with the biggest potential customer. You start with smaller, mid-sized ones. You iron out the wrinkles. You make sure everything is working, and then you have a coherent plan,
Mhm.
and then you go for the big one because you get one shot. You get one shot, and you don't want to blow it. So
All right. Next question we got is Nick. Will the blockchain showcase Fowler's Gods of Gaming and F3 Warrior project? That's a diamond. I guess it's a diamond.
of course, I mean, as we onboard projects on here, we will showcase them all. I mean, that's part of the important marketing function
Mhm.
that we have to do. So Riva, you want to add more color to that?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that we see that has always worked with any project is gamification and gamifying stuff. I think it's all the excitement it brings in the community, and inherently the Web3 and the blockchain community is filled with gamers. We just love the puzzle solving aspect of things, and like collecting tokens and that aspect of it. I think we do want to bring into Vitruveo as well. We've got some amazing apps lined up that's getting built at the moment. This for various purposes. So yeah, all in good time.
Awesome. Kryptoni, do you want to you want to talk about this
Oh
one?
yeah. This was from one of the community. They want to know how many artists and or industry networks do they have lined up to onboard. And I think you guys talked about this at the very beginning, or not. Anybody want to add some color to this one, as Nick likes to say?
I can talk about this.
Sure.
Well, we do have a whole bunch of artists in our network, especially on Artpacks, which we plan on onboarding them immediately, and also from Nifty Dream. So, how many are in there, Nick? So I don't
Close to 4,000 at this point.
Yeah, so we do have a lot of artists that could be potentially ready at any moment as soon as we propose for them the solutions that we're offering. And as Nick said, we start with the smaller, the people that we're connected with, people that trust our vision, and then after we test everything and everything is running as well as we want, then we onboard outside our current network.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay. The next one is for Jamila. If a creator is in England and the company is USA based, by what regulations the creator is obligated?
Look, guys, I'd love to dish out some free legal advice here on the, but I don't think that's the purpose of this one. And, I do appreciate the fact that the regulatory environment right now is quite complex. But unfortunately, I'm going to have to decline that one because I don't want to give legal advice. This is not, but you can listen to Barely Legal and Web3 podcast. We talk a lot about that stuff.
Oh, yeah. I can confirm that. I'm only about halfway through them so far.
Oh, great.
Yeah, it's very informative. I think that people will get an insight. When I saw the screenshot that Nick had put out and everything, and I was like, oh, let me check this out. And then I went to your Spotify, and then it was very refreshing because it was like the way you're speaking, you're talking like you're speaking to me, or it's personable. So I thought it was great. So far, I'm pretty impressed with it, but I might just be a fanboy, so who knows? I don't have any other starred questions. There's a bunch of different ones, but I think that with the time with the everybody has, a lot of these can be answered just through Discord and a few other things. I don't see anything specific to anything on the panel. Do you guys have any other questions that you want to bring up or anything like that? Or
I have a question. So are you guys, the team here, you guys going to be available in the Discord for questions maybe from the community? I'm not expecting you to go in there and spend all day in there, but will you guys be available there? Will be maybe a channel for you guys specifically about marketing or the dev, or maybe some legal questions about specifically the project. Is that something we can
Yeah,
answer
so
now?
so
Or
I instructed the Discord team to first start by getting the house in order, which they've done. So let that settle a bit. There's an entire section that's already been constructed but not visible, but that is DAO, and within it,
okay,
each council has a channel, etc. So that's where you will
cool.
find folks once we enable that. Give it, I don't know, middle of next week or so, and we'll
Okay,
enable
great.
that, and so people will be there.
Answers my question. Thank you.
So I keep getting asked when electric Lambo. I don't care for Lambos. They are terrible cars. I have I've
They
had
are.
electric cars for the past decade. I
Yeah.
love them, and right now my Tesla does well. I like that. It's great. So no Lambo for me. Sorry.
No Lambo. Yeah, there's other
I,
things to do
I concur.
with that
They're
money.
not very practical cars.
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
Rough ride. They're fast and fun, but
Yeah. Just rough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll leave it up to you guys. I don't really have anything else. I have a few
Oh, I'm going to
comments.
send people back to work. So there's
yeah.
work to be
Yeah.
done. So
Yeah, I'm sure I speak for everybody. Thank you all for your time today. We sincerely appreciate
Although
you guys.
we do have a
Yeah.
comment. Jamila says she'll take the Lambo. She's okay with that. She's like, yeah, sure, I'll take it.
Yep.
There's nothing wrong with
You'll
that.
be taking it to the shop because they don't do very well with a lot of
Yeah.
mountains, so.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I would say thanks everybody for joining, taking the time,
Yeah.
different parts of the world, and this is to make this happen. I'm glad the rest of the guys could be here and the community joining and watching this because they're going to go back and watch this. So we look forward to
another
hearing from you
question real
guys.
quick.
Yeah.
Do you guys have social medias that I know it's several of you do, but some of you I'm not sure. Do you have like social medias that people could follow? And and I think like Jamila, I have a bunch of her stuff and fur and stuff, but I don't know if the
Yes, I'm
community.
going to jump in right here because I just pulled up the AMA URL that Nick was showing earlier on.
Mhm.
So if you go into this link, you can actually see all our individual profiles. And
Cool.
if you click on our name and pictures, they're all hyperlinked to our individual like LinkedIn, website, etc. And then below our names, you could also see our handles, which directly links to our Twitter.
Okay.
Awesome. I'm sure you guys will be getting a lot of followers here soon.
Let me take this. I'm going to take this off screen just a second so that I can do something, and then I'll bring it back up. Okay, and then I will put this in all the chats so that everybody. There you go. Now everybody has the link, and you don't have to type it, write it down from the screen. You can just go directly to the link, and it should be in all the chats everywhere. Okay. I don't have anything else.
I do have one last question. This is
Okay.
for Babu. This is one or Nick can answer this. When is the GitHub going to be available for for us to take a look at and see the
as
code?
soon as the testnet, it's simultaneously with testnet, we'll publish.
Okay, so once testnet pops off, then it's same time. Is what we're
Yep,
saying.
you'll
Cool,
see
perfect. There it
the
is.
same source code that we have on testnet will be available there. But
Awesome.
I tweeted this yesterday, and I wanted to also take this opportunity in terms of team to thank all the YouTubers. I consider you an extension of our team. You've been very, very gracious in your support and really helped me tremendously to communicate all these changes, etc. So I'm eternally grateful for you for that, and thank you so much.
The feeling is mutual. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you for wanting to take on this challenge, Nick, and taking
Exactly.
taking what is an absolute mess and trying to make it into something beautiful like art. So we're along for the ride, man. So you've got my support. So.
Yeah, I agree with what Kryptonian's saying. I appreciate you, Nick. I appreciate what you're trying to do and everything like that. And I appreciate everybody on this team for coming here, having discussions. And I know Nick said that, you guys got a lot of work to do, but, maybe we could sneak in a live every once in a while. Maybe you could come in and just say hi or something. I don't know. I'm just that guy. I'm that guy.
Yeah.
So, but I'm going to end it here. So if you guys have anything else real quick, we can go over it. But I think that's a show for us. So if you have any questions or anything like that, let me know. We're all out there, and try to reach out to Kryptonian, even Nick for that matter, NR and Fowler if you need anything. Everybody take care.